Hello comrades, and welcome to my run through Final Fantasy VII. This is of course the remake of Final Fantasy VII. I never had the opportunity to actually play Final Fantasy VII, so this is my first time playing. This is because my country made it illegal to use Sony products, so we couldn't use PlayStation back then. The only games that we could play back in the day were Gulag Simulator and a version of Command & Conquer where you could only play as the Brotherhood of Nod. So it feels very exciting to be able to play the much appreciated game of Final Fantasy VII. Through our limited use of YouTube videos, I have only seen bits and pieces of Final Fantasy, so I do know a little bit of it. I know that the original is a turn-based RPG game, and there is a very famous scene involving someone's death. Other than this, I do not know much else about the game. So I hope you enjoy my commentary regarding Final Fantasy VII, my first playthrough. And if you like the video, please press like and subscribe to see for more. That way I can tell if I be #1 YouTube star in all of Kalishnikov, and then I can finally beat the #1 channel, which is livestream of Light Bulb. Of course, the first thing to choose is to not invert controllers. That is for capitalist scumdogs. The next is to switch difficulty to classic, because I've heard this is the best way to play the game. This scenery does remind me of my home country. That is because it looks like a nuclear testing ground. Many parts of my country actually were nuclear testing grounds for the Soviet Union. The atmosphere does give a good vibe to the game and a general setting of what is to come, I guess. As we can see, from nature to the city, this is going to be two different environments that are clashing. And we now enter the city, which to me looks like casual Yankee town. This man is loading enriched uranium into the back of his truck. This feels just like home. And of course, these pipes could be used for natural gases. However, in Kalishnikov we use unnatural gases. And of course, it must be said that the graphics are very amazing for this remake. And now the main part of the story, which looks like a kind of nuclear power plant exploding, so don't get too close. But for now it looks like an absent distillery, I do not know. Of course, who wouldn't want a close-up view of nuclear waste? Now this person I do know from previous video. I'm going to speed up this part. The flower girl, she just walked. And this place resembles a dictator's palace. Fantastic title for the game. Now we are getting into it. We have the fast train. And of course the very famous sword that is almost as big as me. I kind of wonder if he have back problem from carrying that sword. And of course the guards. I have to say, the helmets with 3 eyes, they're not really designed for people with 2 eyes. And now we meet our heroes. First up we have generic K-pop singer. Followed by Battle Maiden armor. Of course her armor makes somewhat sense this time. And we have Mr. Doraemon stepping up. And of course, finally, Mr. T himself. With all these red bandanas, I thought I was at a Willie Nelson concert. But finally, it is time to get to the main character, of course, Cloud. And now it is time to play the game. What is this? Destruction? No. We have new objective now. Hang on a minute. See, now this is better. I mean, I tell you what, the animation looks fantastic and Mr. T's big gun, well, that makes it hard to do certain things. But now we have the security guards to take care of.
Halt! Who goes there? You're up.
Of course, it's time for the video game to teach you how to do battle.
Coming with us.
Silly guards. Kalishnikov method is to shoot first and ask questions later. I have to say, the battle system is a little different from what I expect, but it's still very interesting nonetheless. You know, Cloud's sword is a very recognizable sword, but it looks like it's meant for a giant. I'm surprised he doesn't have more back injuries.
Hands where I can see them!
Have fun.
And of course the game, she go through its tutorials on how to target multiple targets, do power attacks, even other important items such as dodging and blocking, but I always forget how to do that. And of course, last but not least, treasure chests. When I look at this, I almost thought it was Malaysian airline flight code, which would have been a very weird Easter egg for the game developer. But enough of that, time to progress the story.
So what's Soldier Boy's deal? Is he one of us now? He's got balls, this, what was his name again?
Cloud Strife.
Right.
And he isn't a soldier anymore. Still, he's a professional, unlike the rest of us. I'm glad to have him.
This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
And of course Miss Simp is already talking about my balls. But that was to be expected. And of course she also liked to stare at me. But flirting and gunfire come hand in hand in my country. And of course, Mr. K-pop is jealous because I am the main character, which means I get the harem and he doesn't.
Or even the same...
Give it a rest.
You'll keep us safe, right, Cloud?
Rule number 1 about warfare, look after yourself. You know, it must be very awkward having a machine gun for a hand. For one thing, how do you eat with a knife and fork? How do you even use the bathroom? I mean, you can't even drive manual with that kind of thing. And the other thing, where does he get the ammo?
Just for money? They may not think you're a true believer, but you know what I think?
Not interested.
Classic Cloud. Main protagonist method is not to care about anything until they have to care.
Wedge.
That's right, Doraemon, keep moving.
You better be worth the money, Merc. Every last gill.
And Mr. T, he always angry. I mean, I'd be angry too if I couldn't jag off. And finally we get to the objective, which is to destroy the enemy's absinthe distillery. That thing is huge! Yes, that's what she said. Haha. You see, that joke is funnier in my country because we just found out about it. Yes, the fight scenes are very good, especially with rabid mutant dogs.
Brace yourself.
And of course everyone just proceeds to leave without me. Oh, except Doraemon. He tells me I must go up the elevator. Push the big red button, which I shall do, of course. What is a video game without pushing some kind of big red button? And of course, why not? I do it again for good measure, just to make sure the red buttons still work. And of course it still works, and the elevator go down. It's a shame that not like Aerosmith I cannot make love in the elevator. Well, I mean I could, but then the age restriction would just kick me out of YouTube, so anyway, we keep this PG for now. You know, funny story about my country and elevator is that we only have one in the entire country, and that goes from the president's house to his nuclear fallout shelter underneath the building. This feels weird coming from the other side of the fence and trying to get in as rebel scum. I mean, seriously, Mr. K-pop, what is with that action? You could at least shoot someone. No, you have to look pretty instead. Barisha! Now we get a close-up of the dog. That thing is jacked! I mean, jeez, I've seen some people on steroids before, but that thing... whew. And you are about to see a successful block. Look at that! First time. The one thing that strikes me as odd is Cloud's muscle mass. I mean, he's waving around a sword that weighs twice as much as him, and yet his muscles are not nearly as big as what they should be. And now our group splits up, and geez, Doraemon run very slow. I'm surprised he is left by himself. But it probably makes our ascent faster. And for now, I shall end the video here. I promise on the next episode that I will make the video a little bit more streamlined. For now, don't forget to click like and follow me on my first ever playthrough on Final Fantasy VII.